Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. Today, I dedicate this message to my 4 sons, and it's on crazy dating. Crazy dating, because we have all, at some point in our lives, looked at someone and said, wow, what would it be like to date that person? And then we made the necessary arrangements to make it so. Some of you all are still grieving, if you will, over that one that got away, or that one that you had been thinking about a whole lot, but nothing really took off. And you pondered why, or you may have known why, but you just never truly accepted the fact that you were rejected. And so the individual becomes nothing more than a memory, a photograph, a thought. You might even connect with that person and they're still showing disinterest. This is where crazy tends to take place with some folks, because those unresolved issues from the past tend to dictate your present and your future. And many people have ended up going through all sorts of breakups. Others have went on, got married, but then got divorced because they could never get over those yesteryear blues. I will tell you that the issues that we face early on when we are looking at people, when we are going about making those connections, the issues are there. It's up to us to choose whether or not we want to deal with them. And a lot of times when you are going through that roller coaster of a ride kind of romance, you don't want to see the issues. You don't want to see the writing on the wall. You don't want to connect the dots, because love, so to speak, is blind. But I'm here today to take the blinders off of that roller coaster of a ride that some of you all are about to get on. Some of you all have been on the ride a couple times, and some of you all, you keep riding the ride. I will tell you that the God I serve, He is an awesome God, because during those times when I wasn't thinking about Him, He was thinking about me, and He was showing me things about people that I just didn't want to see in the beginning stages. And I want to share some of those things that I noticed, and hopefully what I share with you today will be a blessing on your life. We're not just talking about today, we're talking about on your life. Now, when you make that first exchange, that first look, let's start there. The eyes, someone told me once, is the windows of the soul. And so there's something in the eyes, especially with those troubled individuals, there's something in the eyes that draws you in or will push you away. You've got to pay close attention to how the person is looking at you. And then when you get that uncomfortable feeling or that strange feeling or something's not right, or I don't know, those are clear indications that's not someone who you want to make a romantic partner. Because someone who gives you that stare and they're looking as if they're looking through you, that's a person that sooner or later you're going to find out is into control. They're very much into manipulating folks and getting them to do what they want. They're good about persuading and charming. And some of you all, you know that because you've experienced it, and then later on you regretted it. Yeah, when I look back, there was that look, but I kind of dismissed it because I know some people, they sometimes tell me that I have an odd look about me. Then there's that mean look. They might look at you with these friendly eyes. It's, they might look at you like they care about you, but then in an instant you'll see this mean look, and then they'll go back to friendly again. Or you'll ask them certain questions and they kind of look at you strangely and you see a bit of meanness there, and then it goes away. Oh, those are signs. Those are signs that you're dealing with somebody who's hot-tempered. They're just trying to control it in front of you, but you said something that, ooh, it just got under their skin, but I've got to continue with the act. Or you get the shifty-eyed type that they just don't want to look you in the eye for very long, or when they are in your presence, they're keeping their eyes closed for a little while before they open them back up again. It's almost as if they're fantasizing or just wanting to not connect with you deeply, but at the same time, they're just orchestrating some things in their mindset on how they want to approach you or how they want to answer a question or what have you. And it's almost strange. It's like they're closing their eyes for a little too long, or you get too much blinking to the point where you're saying to yourself, is this person a little off? Because there are those moments where folks are excited and, they're a little nervous or what have you, but every day, every time I see them, there's always this rapid blinking and this, strange look that comes through their eyes. These are warning signs. These are warning signs of what you will go through, and if you are going to be willing to deal with all of that. So now we get past the eyes, and now we're going to make those arrangements to meet up, and they tend to go pretty smoothly for the most part. There might have been, a little bit of a complication here and there, schedules and things like that. You really can't use all of that as a sign unless you keep seeing it show up. There's this pattern that develops where I just can't seem to even meet with this person. What's going on? Well, they have another life. Okay. And that life is going to affect your relationship sooner or later. So if you got way too many difficulties when it comes to connecting with this person, this may be one less person you want to deal with. But, oh, she's so pretty, or, oh, he's so handsome. That means nothing when a person is not going to be there for you. And you know that that is one of those essential things that you need in a relationship, is someone to spend time with you. And that sort of thing can make you go crazy after a while, when something that you want to do, or someone that you want to connect with, or what have you, and then you just can't seem to go where you want to go with this individual. You can't be with them like you want to. That will ruffle your feathers after a while, and then you might come across as looking very crazy in their eyes. Meanwhile, all of the rejection and the I'm too busy and all of that, they're overlooking those things. So if you see that it's just a little too much to just schedule an appointment to go out and date, oh boy, you might want to just leave that one alone, at least until he or she gets their priorities straight, because they may not consider a relationship that important if they can't come up with a time to meet, or they may not be that attracted to you. And for some people, they can't handle that. That's when they start going into crazy mode. Well, I want to make her be attracted to me because I really want her. And so next thing you know, they're saying and doing some things that is making that person feel uneasy. Okay, so now the appointment has been made, and you're sitting down and you're in an atmosphere where it's quite nice, or you may just skip the whole formal traditional dates and just do something informal. And so as you're talking, you're learning different things about the individual, but then you just notice some things that don't make any sense, or you notice some things are putting you off about the person. Don't dismiss those things. Too many times we hear about individuals who said, well, I knew that something wasn't quite right, but I just thought, oh, no big deal. We all have our issues, or it's not as important, or maybe I'm misunderstanding something, or I didn't quite hear him or her. No, those are signs. Those are signs. You need to be careful. You need to listen to, here we go, those individuals that you're going to talk to about how this person makes you feel. Those people, despite what their background is and what they've been through, when they have some quote unquote negative things to say to you, take heed to them anyway. Because what those things should do, those statements, those observations or what have you should do is shock you into a state of mind where you're not falling in love so quickly. You're not so willing to do any and everything for this individual, including dropping your friends. In the early stages, you need your network who hasn't been sold out on this individual who you are falling for. You need somebody around you or some group that's going to continue to remind you, take it slow. You don't know this person very well. You know what happened in the last relationship. You need these people. But what do we do when we get caught up sometimes in the roller coaster romance? We start shutting their voices out. No. If you've been praying about this person, then you need to make sure that all voices are talking and you are maybe not receiving everything, but at least you're listening. Because you never know how God is going to work to give you the answers that you need about someone or something. And stop focusing so much on how much time has passed. Oh, well, it's been two months and we've been going really strong. And I think it's okay now to go ahead and talk about marriage and children. Or it's been 6 months and I think it's okay for us to pull out a ring and, walk around here as an engaged couple. Or it's been about a year and I think it's okay to go ahead and get pregnant. I mean, these times that we put on these romances, usually what we do is reason the speed at which to get certain things done. Okay, well, because it's 2 months, it must be okay. Because it's 6 months, it must be okay. Because it's a year, it must be okay. Or 2 years or 4 years or whatever. No, don't allow the time to dictate what you want to happen in the relationship. Instead, what you do is you take as much time as you possibly can in getting to know the individual before we start talking about major milestones. You know what I mean? This is where people get so, oh Lord Jesus, entangled into a web of mess. Because they said, well, it was 2 months, or it was 4 months, or it was 6 months. Or some people, they just don't even acknowledge time whatsoever, and they just get into bed the first night. And then next week, they're living with the person. And then next month, they're wearing an engagement ring. And then in less than 6 months, they're already married. And then by that same time next year, they're talking about getting a divorce, you see. So when people are saying to you, take your time, that's not cliche. That's not old fashioned. That's not uncool. What they're trying to do is protect you because there is a long record of individuals who have been played, manipulated, lied to, cheated on, and everything else within the first year of dating. Because when a person is in transition and they're not ready to let go of all those other women or other men, they are going to bring their baggage from the past into the new relationship. And if you don't have a tough skin to deal with all of that, then you will be miserable. And that pain is not going anywhere anytime too soon. You're going to keep thinking about it. You're going to keep wondering where he is, what he's doing, where she's going, who she knows, and all of that. When if you would have just been friends for as long as you possibly could before you started, taking things so seriously, you would have been able to see he still is not over that ex. He still has wet dreams about the crush or the one that got away. She is still tripping on some man that she was involved with some years ago. But I just had to have her right now. I just had to get him right now because I was afraid that somebody else was going to snatch her up because I was worried that he was going to go back to his ex. Okay, those are not reasons to get into a relationship. And when you feel the temptation to want to snatch up or hold on or grab on to someone because of all these other individuals around them, that is a clear indication you do not need to be seriously involved with this person at this time, because they're already playing on your insecurities and your jealousies, and they're already working on that crazy making and controlling and everything else type of spirits that happen early on in these relationships. And some people will do it consciously or unconsciously, but they will do it. Okay? Because they have their share of issues. And so where you were once secure and happy and excited about dating this individual, and you learned a lot and everything seemed to be going smooth, now you're starting to worry about issues that you shouldn't be worrying about if this person is really who they claim to be. I shouldn't have to worry about you flipping out on me because I looked at your cell phone, or because I heard a message at your residence, on your voicemail, or what have you. I shouldn't have to be concerned about you jumping in my face because we had a disagreement. I shouldn't be worried about you following me to see if I'm really going where I say I'm going. I shouldn't have to be concerned about you stalking me on the internet. You know, things like that. Because if we have communication going and you did do your background checks and so forth, then why are you still checking? You see? Now that is a red flag. When you keep coming across a person talking to you about where you're going, what you're doing, who you're seeing, who your friends are. And it's these petty types of things that you experienced back when you were in high school. That's a person who's showing you that they're not spiritually, mentally mature. They're just not. And if you are doing some things that are immature looking, that are high school like, oh, well, I got this boyfriend, I got that one, I'm not going to tell him about this person or about what this one does for me. Okay, you don't need to be even considering getting into any type of serious relationship with anyone. And if you are of the mindset that everybody is a friend, then why are you exclusively dating or agreeing to dating just one person, when you know very well that you're still in everybody's my friend mode? Okay? Oh, because you don't want that one to get away. No, let that one get away, because that one will end up being crazy if you don't get it together. Next thing you know, car is being keyed, or they're popping up at your job, or they're calling up folks and telling them all sorts of crazy things about you because you brought that one on yourself. Some people are just not mentally stable to deal with relationships, especially when you mess them over. You can forget about it, because then you have taken a friend and turned them into an enemy. And there's not many people that's going to be empathetic with you, especially if you're a player type and the women or the men are going crazy on you. They're not going to be empathetic, because they're going to say, well, you should have never been playing games with him emotionally. You should have never been messing around with all these different females physically, and then thinking that she was still going to be dedicated, focused, and mentally stable when it comes to you. Some women, they can't handle it because they've been through too much, especially those that have been abused as children, from controlling folks in their family to later on boys or girls that rejected them and did some dirty things to them. They don't handle those things very well. So some signs that you know that that person is headed in the direction of crazy is when they want to see everything that you use to communicate with other individuals. That means let's look at the text messages, let's look at the computer, let's look at everything. See, you drove them in that direction because you were not honest from the door. You know that you're dealing with some serious problems when she or he is popping up. They're not telling you what time they're showing up or anything else, but they just feel this need to just pop up. They might come bearing gifts so that it doesn't make you feel so uncomfortable, but that is a sure sign that they're not feeling too secure in the relationship just yet. Or there's the other signs where they're talking about things with people you know that you feel uncomfortable with. Why is she asking this question about me? Where is he going? And what is he saying? And I mean, those are my friends. Well, that's my family. You want to cut those things off early on because it's obvious that they don't feel confident, comfortable, secure with you, safe even. It's best just to move on and find someone else and do better next time. Be more honest, be more open. Because some people, once you damage them, they are not coming back. They're not going to be restored emotionally, physically, or spiritually concerning you. I know for some people it's hard to deal with, but it's the truth. Some people just don't bounce back. They will continue to look at you with that evil glare for every time you say you're going somewhere. They will continue to ask a bunch of questions. They will continue to stalk you and everything else. But like I said, a lot of people bring those issues on themselves because their heart was never in the right place from the start. Some folks, they still are holding on to the past. They just don't want to let the past go. They are forewarned by friends and family. They are even told by God himself, and still they want to hold on to the past. And so sooner or later, things fall apart. Dates come to an end. Exclusive relationships, marriages, engagements are broken off. All of these things take place. Divorces, you name it, all because people just will not deal with the issues. But like I said, for those of you all who are about God's business and you have been praying and you have been trusting in him, you need to take heed. You need to take heed to what your friends and family is saying. You need to pay attention to the signs and the symptoms of all sorts of troubled individuals. There are those who will do things like isolate you from your family and friends and then try to justify that it's okay. Okay, it's okay for us to be in the house all the time, but I want to go places. Oh, but I really don't want to. You see, they're not going to come right out and say, I want you all to myself. They're going to do things and say things to get you to reason in your mind that it's totally healthy to be solely dedicated to a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. And then you've got those individuals who will use economic abuse. I'm not going to buy this for you. I'm not going to do this for you. I'm taking back the money. You're not going to get this. You're not going to do that. Or they're going to bombard you with so many bills to the point where you aren't able to do anything but stay in your predicament. Some will rush to move in together and will spend much money doing so, only to find out that they have just inherited a crazy relationship, and now they don't have enough money to get out of it. Okay? And for some people, it was strategic from the start. They wanted it to go down like that because they were so desperate to have a man or so desperate to have a woman. So if they can put so much obligation on you to the point where you cannot leave even if you want to, then hey, they won and you lost. Then you got those individuals who are just sexually weird, strange, abusive, and will have you doing things that you thought you would never do. Will have your body doing things that you thought it could never do. And some people get so caught up into all of those sexual games and so forth that what happens is that they feel like there's nobody else out there that could ever do those things to them or for them or what have you. Or they feel so uncomfortable, so ashamed that they just don't know what to do. But there is freedom when you take a stand when it comes to your body, when you take a stand when it comes to your mind and your physical, your physical health and the material wealth and so forth, no one is going to be able to do no more than you allow them to. And that's the problem. Too many people give each other the pass because they don't have morals, they don't have ethics, they don't know how to say no. If you say no and the person doesn't want to be bothered with you, or they start flipping out, guess what? Consider yourself to be saved from the drama. Consider it to be a good thing. Go through your sadness, go through your grief process, but know that you just dodged a bullet. She cried, she yelled, "Oh my God, I feel so bad that I had to break up with her." No, that's a good thing, because if she flipped out over something as small as you not showing up on time, consider yourself free. Okay? God will allow these things to take place. He will. And some people say, but I thought God would, keep us from all this drama and everything else. No, he will allow these things to take place, because when you have made up in your mind that you want to do A, B, and C, and God is telling you no, but you need to do D, E, and F, he's going to allow you to experience life. Okay? He does not interfere with our free will. Now, he can tell you not to do certain things using various people, places, and things, but if you choose to override all that and just go with the flow, then he's going to let you go with the flow. And if the flow is going to produce a sexually transmitted disease, oh well, that's what you wanted. You wanted to go with the flow. If the flow is going to produce an unwanted baby, oh well, that's what you wanted. You wanted to go with the flow. We can cite many, many examples of why these relationships end up taking an ugly turn. Some people don't recognize mental illness. They will look at how beautiful some of these men and women are, but they will not recognize the fact that there are mentally ill among us. People who refuse to take their medication on a consistent basis. People who refuse to get professional help. And so they get caught up in a cycle of craziness, all sorts of personality disorders. And then they are so depressed, so upset, and crazy themselves as a result. If you know that you cannot tolerate someone who is forgetful or argumentative or has a bunch of mood swings, has some health issues, then you don't need to be involved with that person. It doesn't matter how beautiful they look, how handsome he is. You are just bringing more problems on yourself. You don't need to be involved with someone who tells you about all of these abuses. Unless you can tolerate that type, unless you are very well educated and knowledgeable on that type of individual. They tell you sexual abuse, red flag, because somewhere down the line, there's going to be some intimacy issues. If they have not gotten help, if they tell you child abuse, rest assured there's going to be some anger issues. Okay? There's going to be some depression that might come and go. There might be some mood swings and things. These are red flags. When someone says, well, I come from a family with a long line of divorce, what's the possibility that he or she is not going to divorce you in, say, 2, 5, or 10 years? Okay? You got to be careful who you're connecting with. How about the one that says, oh, I'm not interested in God like that. Sorry, I'm not about church. Can't do it. Okay. But you are. You love the Lord. You believe in God. Maybe you're not much on going to church, but this person has told you, this is not my life, and I'm not into religion. How do you think the relationship is going to make it? How do you think? You're going to have to tolerate a whole lot, because there's going to be times where you are going to want to do some spiritual things. And then that person is going to say, nope, and don't get me involved in it. Now, if they can stay over in their lane and be okay with what you're doing, so be it. Because sometimes that happens once you get married and you find out a person isn't all what they claim to be. If they can stay in their lane and be okay, fine. But if they start controlling you and telling you that, nope, I don't want you praying, I don't want the Bible in my house and all of that other stuff, you already know where that relationship is headed, because God has already told us. And please do check out the audio on being unequally yoked. So some of you all, I know that it's hard to take in this information, especially when you are in love or in but It's a reality. And too many people are just compromising their personal beliefs. They are ignoring the red flags. I mean, you have individuals nowadays who are still having gender identity crises, even though there is a huge movement that says come out the closet. Some of these folks are still in the closet. And then you find out later that he likes your underwears a whole lot. Or you find out that she wants to be with some female, but she doesn't want to be with you. I mean, not everybody is coming out and saying I'm free. And so you got to be able to discern whether or not this person is deceiving you. Okay? Maybe you have your own personal issues and you're not ready to come out. Well, guess what? It's going to be a problem if you're walking around here manipulating, lying, hiding stuff and everything else. It's going to be a problem, and God will expose you. Especially if you get involved with a believer. Oh, and you have those sorts of issues. You already know what the Bible says. So you can hang it up. Somebody is going to expose you, because God is not going to allow his people to keep being manipulated and so forth by people who don't know what they want to do, where they want to go, who they want to be. So to even consider a relationship with a believer and you know you got all sorts of skeletons in your closet, you're just asking for a whole lot of trouble. Trust you me. Trust you me. So I hope once again that I pray that this audio will be a blessing to some of you all. I pray my sons will take heed to it. You know, there's a lot of writing on the wall early on. You've got to look beyond a pretty face. You know, you have to. It's a must. You've got to look at the whole picture. You've got to look at her mother, her father, her sister, her brother, everybody. Listen closely to what they're saying. And don't fall for just anything. And some people want to get involved with folks because of money, because of cars, because of homes. Get your own money, get your own car, get your own house so that you don't have to settle for whatever that person who has all of that tells you have to settle for. If you got your own, nobody can tell you this is my money, this is my house, this is my car. You can only use this a certain amount of time. You can only do this. You can only, I mean, come on. There has to be a meeting of the minds, and some people simply are not interested in stay-at-home mothers. And so if that is what some are saying, oh, well, that's what I want to be, you know, I want to be there for my kids and all that. And those men are saying, you got to get a job right away. You know, you need to leave that situation if that's what you want to do. Because being a stay-at-home mom, from personal experience, is a challenge. It is a challenge for everybody. And then you got those working moms where that's a challenge too. Because maybe he wants her to be at home, but she wants to work. And so now he's having to do some motherly types of things that he doesn't want to do. That can be a problem. You see, this is how it looks later on down the line. Once you get past all the fuzzy feelings, once you get past, you know, all of the agreements, when it comes to what do you like? Well, what do you want to do? And all of that. And we're going to live here and we're going to live there. Once you get past all of that, then hello, here comes routine. Here comes those boring days. You're not going to be in the bed all the time. She's not going to look pretty all the time. He's not going to look handsome all the time. What are we going to do when the ugly moments come? How are we going to deal with them? Are you going to give me a pass? Are you going to be easygoing with me? Is he going to treat you right? Is he going to be respectful? Or is he going to be the type that's going to be up in your face and calling you every name under the sun? Or possibly even slapping you around a little bit? You've got to know. Did his father slap his mother around? Did he see all of that? He may not slap you around, but he may use his words to do it. You see, there are folks out here that have these mentalities where this is what I want you to do. And this is how I want it done. And if you don't know what their requirements are early on, and you are not willing to meet them, it will be hell. So I take this time out right now to pray for those of you all who have been so patient to listen to this entire message, and I pray in Jesus' name that you will take heed to what you have learned today. I pray that these dating experiences will be life lessons learned, and that you will not repeat the same mistakes that you have already made. I pray that you will raise up your standards when it comes to selecting a mate, and that you will look very closely at the type of person you're getting yourself involved with, and most of all, analyze whether or not you can be able to tolerate all of the issues that come with this individual. And I pray that God will be with you every step of the way, and that he will protect you from all harm and danger, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I pray in Jesus' name that any curses that have been put upon you as a result of rejecting someone be broken. I pray that any dramas that have occurred because you have stepped away from someone will stop right now in the name of Jesus. I pray these things, wishing nothing more for love, for peace, for happiness, in Jesus' name, in this listener's life. And as always, to God be the glory. Please do check out my audio on Unequally Yoked, as well as some of my other dating messages. Thank you so much for listening.